Welcome to CryptoChicks Corner, an educational podcast to teach you the basics of blockchain technology and how to harness it to start or expand your own business. CryptoChicks is a nonprofit organization on a mission to grow the professional and leadership potential of women in blockchain and artificial intelligence. I'm your host, Ashley Spradlin, and welcome to our corner. Hello, welcome back. So you've learned a bit about DeFi, and now you're ready to be your own bank and start investing, but you don't really understand how it all actually works. I explained the principles of DeFi in episode 6 and some of the risks involved in episode 10, but there's one risk factor that warrants a little extra explanation and attention, so we're going to cover that today. We're talking about liquidity pools. Liquidity pools are the foundation for the automated piece of decentralized finance. So understanding the basics of how they work is really important for understanding the risk involved if you want to provide money to a project. Before we dive in here, I just want to address that this topic is complex and confuses a lot of people. So if it's taking you 1 or 2 listens to really digest, please don't be hard on yourself. I'm going to do my best to explain it clearly, but there's a lot of new vocabulary if you're not familiar with the finance industry. Personally, I feel like this complex vocabulary is meant to make regular people like you and me feel like they're on the outside, like they need to trust someone who knows how to speak the language. In traditional finance, this information barrier serves banks and fund managers because they need to earn your money. But in DeFi, that script is flipped. So let's make this accessible. And again, please reach out if you have any questions. It might be helpful to write some of these things down as I go through an example today, but I'm happy to clear up any confusion if you message us through our social media channels that are listed in the show notes. Okay, here we go. Liquidity is a fancy word for money available to be used. It's cash or coin on hand. Liquidity pools provide the assets, and in this case, as we talk about it today, assets are cryptocurrencies, so tokens, for transactions on DeFi platforms. In a liquidity pool, 2 assets are put together in the pool at a 50-50 value ratio, and an algorithm controls the price of each asset based on how much is in the pool. I said so little, and I already know that was a lot of information. So let me explain how this works by comparing this to the stock market's order book model. When people participate in a stock exchange, like Fidelity, Robinhood, or E-Trade, their offers to buy or sell are recorded in an order book. Buyers want the cheapest price, and sellers want the highest. So we have to find a buyer and seller whose ranges match to make a trade. If I want to buy pink tokens at $30, I have to wait until a seller agrees to list their pink tokens for $30, and then we're connected through the intermediary to trade. But sometimes there aren't enough buyers or sellers in the marketplace to make these trades, or there are really exorbitant fees for using the intermediary. Sometimes the intermediary interferes in the marketplace. So in DeFi, these transactions are performed without an intermediary or having to wait for the right buyer or seller to come along. Instead, money is poured into a liquidity pool, which is basically a smart contract that holds tokens and automates transactions as users wish to buy, sell, and trade. Now, if I want to buy $30 worth of pink tokens, I receive them directly from the pool without the use of an intermediary or needing to wait for the right buyer and seller match. This process is governed by the computer code of the smart contract. LPs, or liquidity providers, as one might suspect, are the people who provide the money for the pool. Every time someone buys, sells, or trades with the pool, a small transaction fee is charged. The liquidity providers who receive a share of those fees as rewards. So this is kind of part of bringing DeFi back to the users. Instead of the fees for use being given to the big banks and intermediaries, the people who provide the money to facilitate these exchanges in a decentralized marketplace receive those fees as rewards. It's passive income. Now, liquidity providers have to provide an equal value of both assets in a pool. So let's set up an example. Stick with me here. Let's say our liquidity pool is made up of two tokens, pink and white. Let's call our white tokens a stable coin, USDC. Each USDC token is worth $1. So if I want to provide $500 worth of USDC tokens, that'll be 500 tokens. I must also provide $500 worth of pink tokens. So let's say for this example, pink tokens are worth $5 each. My contribution is worth 100 pink tokens for a total investment of $1,000, $500 of each. I am entitled to a percentage of liquidity I provide to the overall pool. The more liquidity I provide to the pool, the greater share of the rewards I'll receive from transaction fees. So if I add my $1,000 investment to a pool that already holds $9,000, bringing the total assets up to $10,000, my investment, my $1,000 liquidity, makes up 10% of the total pool's assets. So I'll receive 10% of the rewards. Now, when you withdraw, you'll receive your percentage of what you contributed to the pool plus your share of the rewards. It's a pretty sweet deal. Of course, there are risks involved. So to explain the risk, we have to explore how a liquidity pool controls the price of the assets in the pool. How does the price of each token in a liquidity pool change? Remember when I explained that in a stock market order book model, we see the desired price and wait for the market to supply the right buyers and sellers. Liquidity pools use an algorithm known as an automated market maker, or AMM, to set the price while maintaining a 50-50 value ratio of each asset in the pool. If people buy a lot of one of the tokens, to maintain that 50-50 value ratio, the algorithm will gradually increase its price after every purchase. So, let's say my liquidity pool has 100 pink tokens at $5 and 500 white tokens at $1. It holds that 50-50 value ratio. I've got $500 worth of each token in the pool. As users interact with the pool, the price of each token will change accordingly. Now, this is only internally. This is only the price of the asset in the pool. It doesn't have anything to do with what the price of that token looks like on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. The external market doesn't have an impact on what the price of the tokens in the pool are at this point. They change according to the ratio of assets in the pool. This is called price impact. The effect of transactions in the pool changes the price of the assets in the pool. So let's say someone comes along and buys 10 pink tokens. These tokens are removed from the liquidity pool, and now the value of USDC, my white tokens, is greater than pink because I still have 500 USDC tokens at $1 for a total of $500 in the pool. But I've only got 90 pink tokens now. At $5, that brings that value to 450. So to bring the values back in line, every pink token purchased now is going to be a little bit more expensive than the last one. So let's say my first purchase of pink tokens, I got them for $5 each. But now, since I need to make the value of pink tokens a little more to align with the value of my white tokens in the pool, the next one might cost $5.55, and then the one after that, $5.62, and the one after that, $5.68, and so on and so forth, depending on how much is in the pool. Now, this math is oversimplified and assumes I'm the only person who's providing money to the pool, but hopefully it paints the picture of price impact for you. This brings us to one of the risks of liquidity pools: insufficient liquidity. If someone else wants to buy 100 pink tokens and there are only 90 in the pool now, I cannot make that transaction. There's not enough in the pool, and if the trend continues, it could put future transactions at risk. Also, if someone bought 80 of the 90 remaining pink tokens in the pool, the price impact would be huge. This is why it's really helpful to have a larger liquidity pool with more providers. The more liquidity providers there are, the more stable the price of the assets in the pool. Because if there's more volume, the transactions don't make as big of waves. You might think of it like the amount of water you would displace by splashing around in a bathtub versus the amount of water you displace by splashing around in a lake. The more liquid volume, the more space to splash around, and the quicker the waves are going to dissipate. This is a bit of a disadvantage to liquidity providers because the more LPs there are in a pool, the smaller their share of the rewards. The more people with their forks in the pie, the smaller slice you get, basically. Remember that LPs get a share of the rewards that matches their share to the pool by their percentage of total value. So if I'm an early liquidity provider to a pool that doesn't have that many other LPs, I'll receive a large share of the rewards. But as the liquidity pool gets a little deeper and more people provide funds, my rewards will be less because my contribution represents a smaller part of the whole. Now for another risk. Usually one of the assets in a liquidity pair is a more stable asset. A stable coin like USDC, our white token from our example, is a good example. We know the value of the stable coin on the external market will remain relatively, stable. But we all know the crypto market is pretty volatile. What happens if the price of the pink token changes in the external market? If the external value of one of the tokens changes and I choose to withdraw my tokens, I might lose some of my initial investment. So let's say pink tokens go up to $7 from $5 on the external market. If I withdraw, then I'm going to lose some of my investment. Because I don't get to withdraw 100 pink tokens that I deposited into the pool, I withdraw the percentage share that my investment represents out of the total pool. So when I made my $500 deposit of each token, at $5, that got me 100 tokens. But now my investment only gets me about 71 tokens on the external market. This is called impermanent loss, and it's another risk of being a liquidity provider. It's impermanent because if the value of pink tokens in the crypto market goes back down and I haven't withdrawn my share from the pool, then I recover that loss. I don't realize it by cashing it out. Impermanent loss can happen when the price changes in either direction. When you withdraw your investment, depending on the change in the ratio of the token prices compared to the initial ratio when you made your deposit, the rebalancing of the pool that occurred over the time that your funds were in the pool may result in you receiving less tokens or total value than you initially put in. So the idea is to keep an eye on the value of your liquid assets in the external market so you can calculate the risk of impermanent loss before you withdraw your investment from a liquidity pool. There are calculators out there that help you do the math easily. I'll link one in the show notes for you. It's also a good idea to avoid volatile asset pairings when providing liquidity. If you think pink tokens are going to moon or go way up in price, don't pair them with a stable coin in a liquidity pool. Look for crypto pairs that seem like their prices will rise and fall together to reduce impermanent loss. This requires a good bit of research and honestly maybe a crystal ball, but it's quite risky, and fortunately, DeFi platforms recognize this. They make the rewards pretty high usually to incentivize liquidity providers to try and offset any impermanent loss. It's also important to keep in mind that these rewards are offered in the form of LP tokens from the platform. So the value of those tokens should also play a role in your risk assessment. If the token value of what you're receiving in rewards tanks, well then maybe you're not getting a good return on your investment. It's also worth mentioning that some DeFi platforms, like Balancer, will offer different liquidity ratios depending on community goals. So do a little digging into these specifics so you understand where price impact and impermanent loss can occur before you become a liquidity provider. All right, I know that was a lot of information and it was a little complex, but that's the gist of how a liquidity pool works and how you can be subject to price impact and impermanent loss. I hope it was helpful. If you have questions, once again, please interact with us on our social channels and let us know how we can help. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of CryptoChicks Corner. I hope it was helpful. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you're notified when we release new episodes to build on what you just learned. We would love for you to take a moment to rate and review the show to help us serve more entrepreneurs. And remember that anyone can join our CryptoChicks Academy to take courses from experts in the field, and our hatchery can help you transform your business idea into a well-funded startup. Check out our show notes to get started, and we look forward to seeing you shine. This podcast wouldn't be possible without the support of our incredible sponsors. Women of Crypto is an NFT avatar collection that's the first of its kind, 3D rendered, and meant to represent the diversity and beauty of every single woman in the world. Their efforts are invested to bridge the gender gap and inspire and invigorate more women to participate in the world of crypto. Women of Crypto is a Metatora project, and we're so proud to partner with them. We also want to thank Metis. Metis is an Ethereum Layer 2 optimistic rollup platform to help you launch into the Web3 economy. Their platform harnesses the security and decentralization strengths of the Ethereum network with the added benefit of fast, low-cost transactions, native storage, and a user-friendly interface to make deploying your project simple and stress-free. Whether you're expanding projects in decentralized finance, NFTs, gaming, community, or you want to take your Web2 business to the next level, Metis is the platform for you.